Well, hello everyone, Texie88 here and welcome to another retro gaming review. And now I bring you the Amstrad CPC version of Kickoff. And one thing that's already worrying me about this is that these menus look very, very similar to the ones that were in the Spectrum version that I reviewed the other day. I really hope this isn't going to be a Spectrum port. Okay. Anco again. God, even the menus have stiff controls. That's not good. One player, keyboard, the usual Keyray OP. We'll do a single game just like I did for the Spectrum version. I did National in Spectrum. I'll do the same thing here. I'll pick 4-3-3, I think. I'll do National as well. I'm not going to put the Sunday League because otherwise they wouldn't stand a chance again. Oh, of course, computer wins the toss again. Okay. So this actually has the same problems as the Spectrum version. In fact, it does look like a Spectrum port. I mean, look at that ball. It's got exactly the same problem as the Spectrum port, and it's actually underneath the lines. And talking of lines, look at the way the lines don't even reach the edges of the screen. That was another problem that was present in the Spectrum port. Sorry. Oh my goodness me. Oh God, that was a good start. That ball was underneath the line. Don't get out of the goal. What are you doing there? This really doesn't make good use of the Amstrad's hardware. Again, why did they do a Spectrum port? I mean, even that line's too close to the player, just like it was in the Spectrum version. Literally, this is the only difference is there's no colour clash in this because the Amstrad doesn't really have that problem. And that was a bit worrying that I was just able to wander around the ball and take the free kick. Like what? I didn't actually kick that ball over there. It did that by itself. So this has the same problem as the other versions I've played, in which the computer's doing things things on behalf of me. I just want to be in full control of all my players at all times. Why can't the makers of Kickoff get that into their thick skulls? We don't want the players to do whatever the hell they like. I mean, that's how I've actually fouled players in Kickoff because of things of that kind of logic. And I have the other. See, look, I shouldn't have been allowed to be in the area like that. Oh, goodness me. What are you doing off the pitch, you bellend? Hey, that ball just suddenly jumped from one player to another. Oh, God, this is hell. Oh, boy. Oh, foul, ref. Again, while you see the player fall over, it doesn't really look like you see the player doing the sliding tackle actually slide along on their bum the way they would. I think this is starting to seem like Kickoff should never really have been released on the 8-bits, even though there was still a reasonably vibrant scene in the late 80s, early 90s. it was starting to reach a point where the 8-bit machines just couldn't handle it. I mean, another problem that I was in this is also in Spectrum version is that you can't. There's no scanner, so I still have the same problem that I don't know where the rest of my team is. Oh God, it's really hard to tell when it's okay to change direction with the ball. It seems to be by the nearest. That one was obvious. How are you meant to take a free kick? Come on, ref, send him off. That was cynical. How are you meant to score? You never know how far away from the actual goal you are because there's no scanner. Oh, goodness me. What are you doing? That does not look like he's holding the ball. It looks like it's floating off to one side of him. God. Just how many Amstrad games are Spectrum ports? I mean, not knocking Spectrum, it's got some great games out for it, but Amstrad owners didn't want to have games that actually looked like they were done on a different machine to that which they really were done on. Ah, yellow card. Do that again, mate, you're off. I don't think the free kicks are done all that well. I'm sorry, I really don't. The way you can just wander around them. Okay, half time. Continue. Switch to 4-4-2 this time. So I'm playing up the pitch this time and the ball's underneath the line again. That's nice. Yay, I've scored. But again, you may remember in my review of Kickoff 2 on the Spectrum in particular, one thing I lambasted that game for was the fact that the scrolling couldn't keep up. And notice how I'm so close to the top of the screen here. See, if I had a bit more view of what was in front of me, I could have better planned for being able to do what I did just before to score that other goal and perhaps scored again, but it wouldn't let me do that. Oh. So there's my player standing underneath the line with the ball that's also underneath the line. Oh. Yay! Over his head. This is so disappointing. Oh yeah. It sounded like someone did a light clapping of their hands when the ball hit the post there. At least it's got a sound for hitting the post. Oh, hit the post again. It would really help if there was a scan or something so I actually knew where the posts were, because just that blob showing where the goal is not particularly descriptive. Oh, put more of the view in front of me. So look how close that ball is to the bottom edge of the screen. Hey, 3-0. Sorry, 3-1. Whistle sounds quite good, I suppose. I'm sure that's sort of. I'm trying to remember whether that's the same guy that fouled me before. Look at that. I got no idea who to pass to because I can't see anyone other than that player there. I mean, it was just by sheer luck that there was someone who could receive that, apart from that player who quite literally had that opposing player on top of him. So you just got to do this. You can't really risk passing because you don't know where anyone on your team is half the time because there's no scanner. Ah, blast. This isn't very good, really. The scrolling can't keep up properly. It's smooth enough, but it's let down by being a Spectrum port instead of being done from scratch and better using the Amstrad's graphical and colour capabilities. Oh, Anco. Hey, how could I have kicked that ball if the ball was nowhere near me? Oh, this is horrible. Well, it's not horrible, I suppose. It's far from awful, but it's really not particularly exciting. You keep fouling me, player 7. Stop it. Oh, goodness. See, look how close I'm getting to the top of the screen. I don't know where anything is. No! I didn't do that. Sprites are a bit flickery at times. Look at that. Look how much that's flickering. Flickery sprites again. What's that all about? Ugh. Right, that's full time, so that's kick-off for the Atari, sorry, not the Atari, the Amstrad CPC. Really not that great. Blatant Spectrum port and not a huge amount of fun to play, and and virtually no atmosphere. In some respects, the Spectrum version had an excuse for that because of its sound limitations, but the Amstrad does, let's face it, tend to have better sound capabilities than the Spectrum, and it can do some very nice colourful graphics and not have to worry about clash. So the fact that this is a Spectrum port is very disappointing. So graphics, well, Spectrum port, what more can I say? Doesn't make use of the Amstrad CPC's capabilities, so that's going to be knocked down for that. Not just because it doesn't make the most of its capabilities, but also because it's just a lazy Spectrum port instead of programming it from scratch and actually doing something that Amstrad owners would be proud of buying a copy of. And there's still the same problems in the Spectrum version, that the ball and players look like they were going underneath the lines on the pitch, and the same problem, the lines not stretching out to the outer edges of the playing area. They peter out just like they did in the Spectrum version. I mean, literally the only real benefit of the graphics is that there was no colour clash. Although, as you saw towards the end, there was some noticeable sprite flicker, which is also a bit of a shame. Sound, it's okay. Again, doesn't really make best use of the Amstrad CPC's capabilities. In fact, possibly even less so. I mean, there's not even any music in these menus. The menus are literally much the same as they were in the Spectrum version, and just as deathly silent. Gameplay, well, it plays all right, although it does have problems with the scrolling, not being able to quite keep up. It's not so fast that it's unplayable, but the scrolling really needs to go a bit faster than it did, so you could actually see more of the pitch in front of you, especially as you can't actually tell where anything is apart from the very centre of the goal, because there's no scanner like there is in the 16-bit versions. So yeah, I think I'm going to give Kickoff on the Amstrad CPC 4 out of 10. It's pretty uninspiring, all things considered, and it's not really a football game that's gonna enthrall them, any football fan really. So, hope you all enjoyed that review. Hope to catch you on another video soon. Texie88 out.